right, today we have Julie and Gabby Goulier here, and they are going to talk about the St. Croix Composite bike team. Did I get up? Am I missing a word? Is that all of it? That's all of it? Okay. Every spring, maybe you see the yard signs kind of around town about signing up for the bike team, and that's what this is. And so they're going to talk about that, and then Gabby also went and competed at Nationals in Winter Park this summer, and so they're going to talk about that as well, I think. So, so I'll just kind of turn it over to them and let them do their thing.
Okay. So first of all, I'll just talk about a little bit about kind of the organization of mountain biking, which is called NICA. And then Gabby can talk about kind of how our team works and about some of the things that she's done and going to nationals and different things like that. So this is us. I'm Julie Goulier. I'm Gabby's mom. Sorry. Gabrielle. And I am one of the head coaches of the St. Croix Composite and Hudson mountain bike teams. I also work with the league doing presentations and helping out what we have called the Leaders Summit, where we coach coaches. I teach on the bike skills. I've helped some of the other leagues in Georgia and other areas get their leagues going, and work with a group called the Demo Team, where we just really try to help coaches be better coaches. So I wear a lot of different hats in mountain biking. So just some of the things we're going to talk about. I'm going to talk about, like I said, the kind of NICA and maybe some of the racing, the scoring, coaches and volunteers, and then Gabby can talk about our team, a little bit how the season goes, the races. She can tell her story, and then we'll open it up to questions. At the very end, if we have time, we have a little video we could play, part of our team video. My husband tried to bring in, we have a revised shorter one, and for whatever reason I couldn't get it to work, and we still couldn't get it to work. So the Minnesota League, okay, first of all, so we race as part of the Minnesota League because all those races are much closer than the Wisconsin League is. The Wisconsin League wasn't even around when our team started a few years back, so that's why we became part of the Minnesota League. The Wisconsin races are like almost to Chicago, whereas one of our races is actually right in River Falls. So when you see Minnesota, that's why. So we are the Minnesota League, which started in fall of 2012 with just 155 racers, and now this year we have 2,000 racers and about almost 75 teams, 1,000 coaches, and this is our core values that NICA believes in: inclusivity, equality, strong body, strong mind, and strong character. So NICA is the National Interscholastic Cycling Association, which is a nonprofit organization founded in California. They're the governing body that runs all the different leagues all over, basically. So they oversee all the mountain biking with over 20,000 students and 9,000 coaches nationwide. So we have middle school. We have a freshman JV2 class. We have JV3, which does 3 laps of racing, and then we have varsity. So the races are all based on categories of their performance, and we can race as far as teams go. You can be an independent person, you can be a high school team, or a composite team. So our team that we are part of, Gabby and I, is a composite team. So we're Prescott, we're River Falls, we're anybody kind of in the community on this side of Minnesota, let's say. And then we also are Hudson. But Hudson now is actually their own team. So once you have so many high school racers, you have to like go off and be your own. We still practice together, but when it comes to scoring, we're separate. So we have a lot of kids that come practice together. So we have a composite team, and then we have Hudson now is the high school team. Okay, coaches. So coaches we rely on, we have head coaches, assistant coaches, we have a team director, and ride leaders. So typically people are into biking, I guess, that become coaches. That's kind of where it stems from at first. Then maybe there's people who are like, hey, we don't have this in our area, but we think it would be kind of cool, and then they kind of come on board. Next thing you know, parents are riding along, and then parents become coaches. Then people like you guys may come to an event and volunteer, and you're like, this is kind of cool. I like getting out and biking and stuff, and maybe there's a way that I could help. And then some of those volunteers end up becoming volunteers or coaches. And so being a coach doesn't mean you have to like tell the kids exactly what to do, but sometimes just being there or being like a sweeper or riding along or providing safety is important as well. So we have girls and boys. About 30% is girls, and we're working on bringing that number up. On our team this year, I actually headed up an all-girls middle school group, and we have about 10 girls. I think we have 9 girls in there, and then 1 girl who's just actually new to mountain biking. So we allow 6th graders to race this year, which is the first time that 6th graders can race. So that would be middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And the 6th grade girls, I think I have 7 6th grade girls. So it's that fine line with the girls of bring on the face glitter and keeping it fun to, you know, providing for those kids who really want to, you know, step it up and, let's say, race. And so it's racing and fun and everything kind of all together. So how we bring that percentage of girls up. Many kids aren't typically like stick and ball kind of kids, and maybe they were, which is fine, and some do, and some use that for cross training, and some that we've had on our team before will use mountain biking as training for, let's say, if they're downhill skiers, or we had some wrestler guys who use that as their training just to stay fit. Some maybe had like a bad experience in another area, or just looking for a good connection. So we have a wide variety of kids. Okay, this is where Gabby gets to come in.
Okay, well, I don't think there's much to say because my mom really said it all.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, we race for Minnesota because the races are just closer, and yeah, the next race is in River Falls at Whitetail, so that will be fun, I think. And that's our team picture, I think, from this year. And so we have like a wide variety of girls and boys, like all ages. So it goes from 6th grade to 12th grade, and then usually after 2 we have kids coming from college and being coaches. And we have 90 kids on the team, and my dad actually started this program called Dirt Kids, and it's 4th and 5th graders, and so that kind of just gets them like hooked on biking. And so they really just work on like skills, and then they play games. And then our middle schoolers are 6th to 8th graders, and then usually at the races they do 1 lap. And then the high school is 9th to 12th, and then that's really when you get split up into JV and varsity. So like I'm in varsity, so I race 4 laps, but then like the freshmen race 2, and then JV3 race 3.
And Gabby, how long is a lap?
Usually it depends on the course, but most often a lap is like 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how fast you are. I think usually
Is it
takes
a certain distance consistently or not necessarily?
No, I think it's just around like 3 to 5 miles.
Yeah.
But it's pretty hard because you're going as hard as you can.
They try to be like 4,
Yeah.
4-ish.
And then at practice we have them every Tuesdays and Thursdays mandatory, and then on Mondays it's kind of just the advanced kids, and then I'm pretty sure we have Saturdays, which is adventure. So you just get to go to new trails and try that out.
What time does practice run from?
It starts at 5, I think, 5:30 or 5, and then goes to 7. So around 2 hours biking the whole time.
Is it hard to find places to ride?
No, like, well, we have whitetail and then the road
What's
is always...
whitetail?
What?
What is whitetail?
Oh, it's just a mountain bike course, so it's just like trails that are in the woods. So it's just like skinny walking paths, I guess.
It's in River Falls, so where Shopco used to be. Back behind Shopco is an area that is actually owned by the city, and there's a governing group called Cork. It's called the Kinnickinnick Off-Road Cyclist Group. And so many years ago, they saw this need where they had this property where they could build these trails that are multi-use, multi-purpose trails. And so it became a place where people could go mountain biking, trail running, they could bring their dogs, and so it's all real flow trail. And since that has come on and since the NICA has come on board, I mean, it's become one of the most popular mountain bike areas around. For all ages. There's a skills park that her dad built over there too, which is kind of nice, where people can come in, practice some skills, or they can practice higher skills, or they can learn skills to like get out into the course. So yeah, it's just right in River Falls is Whitetail.
So yeah, and then usually our season lasts 6 months, but for me, I'm biking all year round, but like that's the usual like spring to fall season. And then we race for NICA from September to October. And usually the races get spaced out. So like this week is my bye week, so I won't be racing because no one is. But then like the weekend after that, I'll go to River Falls. So this is kind of the bye week thing. So usually each team picks 4 out of the 6 races, and it kind of depends on like distance too, because like if some teams are further, they might want to pick Austin instead of like Lake Rebecca. So we picked Austin as our bye week and Duluth. Yeah.
I'll go back to that one. So that right there is River Falls, and there's this area in River Falls that is called the field, and so that's typically what a race course will look like. And it's set up where you can see over here on the right-hand side is where the start area is, and then they'll go straight out, and at Whitetail they kind of go into the woods at the far top corner, and then where you see kind of that swooping area and all those tents are people's team tents. There's not even all the tents. There's typically about 900 racers per race, and so every team from us to Lakeville, to Duluth, all the way up to the Iron Range, Egan, you know, all these places have team tents, Cuyuna. And so that whole space is all in there, is all just tents for teams. So typically though, that's what it will look like for a race.
So when you start the race, does every lap come back by you said like she does 4 laps. Does every lap come back by where they're starting?
Yeah.
And then they go back up and around and do the
Yep, exactly. So they go into the woods, and then back there for this particular race, hey, can you take me? They'll kind of zoom down this way, and then right here is like this finish line, and then this would be like a...
So lap 2, they would go around that way.
And then it goes straight up, and so they have to go straight up again, a hill, and then do all the single track. There's some bridges, there's some berms, there's roots, so... Yeah,
It's a lot of racers. Can they pass each other? It looks like a fairly narrow trail. How do you get past people to win or go faster?
Well, this is usually like the widest section of the trail, and so once you get up to the top, it'll be even skinnier, so you just have to ask if you could pass or go in the woods around them.
We practice that trail etiquette and passing, and there's certain things. This guy's...
Is it a timed race, individuals timed, or is it just the first person across the line?
First person across the line, yeah.
If you've got a huge group like that, and you end up in the back of it,
Yep.
is it possible to get up to the front?
Yeah.
Yeah, usually when you start in the beginning too, you're sprinting, so you'll just try to get in front if you think you can like keep your position. So like usually if I start in like 3rd or 2nd row, I get up to the front like by the time the single track is, because I don't want to get stuck behind the slower riders.
So is there like a time trial then to determine where you start?
Our last race. was kind of fun, right?
Yeah. Well, determining on where you start is based on where you finish, and it's also, they have a number of parameters where they figure out like we're sixth graders and different things. Some of the groups, the boys groups, they have different waves. So you have 40 kids in a wave. You would not usually have 2 waves for any girl groups. There's not as many girls, but some of those boys, freshman boys, they may have up to 4 waves. And so, again, depending on where you finish, and you'll end up being kind of placed then where people are more like your ability for safety purposes and things like that. But as far as like timing and time trials, so brand new this year, just last weekend, we had rain. We have a brand new race course up at Summit Lake, which is in Hayward. That my husband and our team actually designed and built specifically for NICA to have passing zones and feed zones and certain features and stuff. And so we got all this rain. And so we were able to run most all the middle schoolers, and then it just got to be where it was unsafe, and so we had to call the race. And then the next day on Sunday is when all the high schoolers race. And we got another inch of rain. They got like 8 inches of rain. You know how much rain we got last week. So they got about 8 inches up there. And so what they did is, this is probably a new thing now going forward, is these short track races. And so they had each group run a 30-minute short track race. And so they would do as many short little loops, like let's say it's just that small thing, do as many as they can in 30 minutes. So that was kind of new.
So you talked about etiquette. Is there some danger involved? I mean, do you
Well,
get safety issues when you do?
yeah, because I got a concussion at that course before racing, but I feel like, yeah, because if you ask to pass, you're usually like on your right or on your left, so they know that you're coming up, but I think it's, for the most part, safe. Well, yeah, depending on what you do, because I did enduro in Colorado, and I have like a huge like scar up my leg because I crashed, but mountain biking for the most part is safe.
And those coaches are trained to really work with the kids, and safety is number one. Risk management is a huge thing. Kids can get hurt for sure, but just like any sport, concussions are huge. We all know that. You know, helmets are mandatory anytime you're on the bike, even going from here to there. You know, it's helmet on. And so they have helmets now with nips in them, which moves independently, the inside part from the top part of the helmet. You know, and so we just do the best we can for safety and working with the kids.
Equipment-wise, is there a big disparity in the quality of the equipment if everybody's picking their own stuff up? I mean, you know, you can spend an unlimited amount on speed if you want to, if you run into a lot of that.
When kids first start, we just say, don't even worry about going, you know, and buying a new bike. We don't really care. The league has bikes that kids can use for the year. On our team, we have some loaner bikes as well that kids can use. You know, we do know that some of the bikes that may come from Walmart are a little heavier, and they're harder to break and things like that, but we have guys on our team that are good at helping, you know, get the bikes to the best they can. And then parents kind of see, and kids kind of see, hey, is this something that I really like, you know? And if they do, and parents and kids will be telling their parents that they love it, they'll see that there is a benefit in getting bikes. NICA offers a program where coaches and athletes can get bikes at a discount. You can go up to Crankworks in River Falls, you can go up to Art Doyle's and get maybe 30% off bikes. And so, again, maybe depending on where you are, Gabby has a much better bike than I do, but she also rides a lot better than I do too,
So if you want to get a kid started, what would be the best way to do it? I have a sixth grader, and it might be, you know, she's not incredibly athletic, doesn't really do any team sports. What's the best way to get them started?
So we have some tried out sessions that you can do. There's also a program called Little Bellas, which is just for girls that runs separately from our team. My husband, if your kids are in 4th and 5th grade, they can come be part of the Dirt Kids. Otherwise, you get put into different groups on our team. We have A and B groups. So depending on their age, they're going to be in middle school, they're going to either be in the B group, they're going to be all with girls with me, or they're going to be in the A group. And then again, in each of those A's and B's, there's sometimes two groups. Like there's a real slow group, and then there's a faster, and then there's, so we do some stuff where we test all the kids and teach them skills, and then that's how we base what groups they go in. And then they can move groups as well. So, so this year we're kind of already in the race season, so we wouldn't recommend that a new kid especially would start at this point because we're past teaching all of the basics. So we're already into the more race training or, different things like that. But next year, I think Gabby may pass that one. We have our preseason stuff, and sign up is like May, June, even before May. We have ice cream socials, try it out sessions, get-togethers, things like that. So come and meet with us. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the end of the season for NICA, and so we all get together and get awards. So how that works is you place however you do at a certain race, and then they combine those points, and whoever has the most points, I think, wins overall. And then you have team points and team awards. So if I got second in a race and my friend got first, and we had 3 firsts, they'd pick those and combine them, and then whatever team has the most points usually would win.
Yep. Individual for ages and team points overall. We also have what's called the skills challenge, which is like a square setup where kids can go in randomly and practice skills, and for every time they get their foot down, they get marked a point off. But we award medals for those skills challenge winners as well, and then that's at the...
Okay, so this is me. I obviously go to Prescott High School, and I'm a sophomore, and I race for the St. Croix Composite team. And so I do other races besides the high school races. So this year I've done the Lutzen 99er. I did the 49er, but it was actually 53 miles. And then I did the Fat Fish 40, and that was 51 miles. And then I also do the Minnesota series and the Wisconsin series. And I do the Wisconsin series because it gets me points for nationals, and so it would get me a better call-up. So I'm not in last place to start. And then the biggest race I went to this year was the national championships in Winter Park. And so that was a couple races. They had all categories: mountain biking, enduro, downhill, dual slalom, all that kind of stuff. And so here's some pictures of me. The one of me on the podium was at one of my wars races, and then the other 2 were in Colorado. And so this was the national race. I did the Wisconsin race to get points, and at nationals I finished 11th place out of 80. And so I think that's pretty big because, I live in Prescott, so I don't get the opportunities that people in Colorado and California get on trails. So and then it's improved my life, and I do believe that it's a lifelong sport. I don't know, it helps me stay active, and when I want to, I'll bike with my family. And I'm also on another team called LCW, so that's kind of helped me train more too. So
Gabby, how do you train to go to Colorado when the altitude's so different?
We went, I think, a week and a half early. So what we did is we just took days off and just climbed up the whole mountain just to get our lungs activated. And I still don't think that I was fully activated. So I feel like if I went a month early, it'd just be the best. So that was another hard part too, because the kids in Colorado, Arizona, and California were already acclimated to the altitude and stuff. So
We might ship her out next year. See ya.
Sounds like a good plan.
And besides just, this is called cross-country mountain biking, there's fat tire biking, which is bikes with fatter tires, which people used to just use in the wintertime. But now that people just love those bikes, that people use them in the summertime. Gabby also has tried, which is called cyclocross. Cyclocross is usually kind of at the end of the fall, like in October, I guess, or coming up pretty soon. And so cyclocross is like a short track, and then they have to go over like hurdles, and they have to run upstairs, and they have to go downstairs. And so they practice like whipping their leg over and like dismounting the bike while they're almost going, and throwing the bike on their shoulder, jumping over an obstacle, and then continuing. She loved that last year.
But it's on, usually the bikes aren't like the mountain bikes. They have like almost road tires, so probably like an inch thick. And then it has like handlebars like this, and then like lower ones too. So that just makes it harder because you're on the grass. But
And then she also did in Minneapolis. Okay, so in Minneapolis this winter, they're hosting the World Nordic World Nordic, cross-country ski race. And it's the first time that world's cross-country ski racing has ever been here. So last year they had this event, kind of getting ready for this big worlds thing. So they did a Nordic cross, and then they did a mountain bike cross. So have you ever seen like those people where they line up like 4 wide and they send them all down at the same time, like border cross, like snowboarders, or they do that hockey thing here now. So they did that with cross-country skiing, and then they did it with the winter fat bikes. And so Gabby's like, oh yeah, I'll try it. So she just goes in there and gives it a go in the fat bike thing, and that was pretty cool. So it's pretty neat to see all these different kinds of opportunities. Her friend and some coaches on our team went out to Worlds in Canada, and they actually have now the e-bike category, which is like a little bit of assisted bike, the electric bikes, and so that's kind of cool.
That's right.
What is the enduro?
oh, okay. So enduro is like a mix of downhill and like cross country. So you'll usually have like a full suspension bike. So that means it's like bouncy in the back and the front, and you just go downhill and do like jumps and like tricks in the air, and then you have to climb back up to go to the next like stage. And so yeah, that's what it is.
You wear like a full face helmet, shin guards, knee pads, big.
Is that where you got hurt, was doing that?
Yeah, that's where she
I
got
just
hurt.
got like that, but the scar.
How many bikes do you own, Gabby?
I only have 2, but I'm getting a cyclocross bike this year. And I really want a full suspension, but I don't have enough money for all that.
The social aspect of it has been a good experience with you, with meeting people from around the country and on your own team and stuff.
Yeah, especially on my team. Like that's where most of my friends are, because our team just bonds super well. And then, yeah, it's super fun meeting new people like from different places, because, yeah.
I think that's a really cool thing about the team and about how our whole team started, is being a composite team. And so all these kids from Prescott to Hudson and River Falls and everything all have at such a young age this unique common interest already, which usually you don't get till you're in college. Like you meet your friend, your people that you resonate with when you're in college, because that's where you find like what you have common interests. And so it's pretty special, and the mountain bike community is really welcoming. I mean, just having 6th graders race now it's so cool to see them out there, just loving what they have accomplished, coming from where when Tom has some kids in his Dirt Kids program where they're still using their feet to stop their bikes. Like when I grew up and I was in Bloomington, we used to ride our bikes everywhere. Kids don't do that anymore, and maybe because we live out here in the country and it's not as safe. You can't just bike down County Road F. I mean, you could, but you're not going to send most kids down County Road F. So it's kind of weird, like it's kind of like a lost thing in a way. So it's, when Tom works with these Dirt Kids, and they're practicing good skills and trail stewards. That's the other thing too, is our team gives back to the trails. We're always giving back and volunteering in community service, and whether it's helping with the races or building trails or helping with other groups.
Are there any other kids from Prescott?
My sister.
There was some, they've kind of fallen off, maybe they come try it or they find that it conflicts with another sport, or maybe they haven't loved it or whatever. Getting the word out is another thing. I feel like it's been hard. We're still kind of working at, I did talk to, high school principal, and he's totally on board and everything, but it's hard to go into, let's say, the high school and ask like a ninth grade high school girl to join a mountain bike team. She'd be like, what?
Right.
I'm not doing that. I'm already on volleyball or whatever. So we're the first team to offer this kind of feeder program, this Dirt Kids. Some other teams are doing that now, but it's great because then at a younger age, kids can come out and try it and see what they think.
Do you see it becoming a high school and or college sport at some time?
Oh, it is.
And
It's already scholastic,
It
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So like in Wisconsin, are there high schools that have bike teams?
Oh, yeah. They're growing about as rapid as we did to begin with. So I think Wisconsin League now they only have one-day racing, which is what we had up until this year. And they have over 1,000 kids already. And so every single state, it's the fastest growing sport, trap shooting and mountain biking, because it's so lifelong. And then now we have parents who will come, not even be good bikers, and maybe they're biking with their kids, and next thing you know, they're like, I'm going to try one of those Minnesota Series races, and they start out in like a citizen, and they just like it, and then they find trips they go on together. Well, like Gabby said, she may or may not ride with us, but so.
But do you see it becoming
There's colleges now.
Colleges will compete
Yep.
against each other in biking?
Yes, that's the next step for NICA.
NCAA kind of thing?
Yeah, they have that already starting. Some of Gabby's friends, one of her friends that's on the Wisconsin League is looking at some schools that offer mountain biking as a
How about
college.
Afton Alps? Does Afton Alps do downhill? Like Spirit Mountain does downhill, right? Where you can ride a chairlift up.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Does Afton do that?
No.
No, Afton used to have cross-country races, and then, I don't know, some logistics. Welsh has the downhill and like the enduro, like Spirit Mountain does. So Welsh does do that. Welsh used to host the Norba Nationals a long time ago. That's how I got into mountain biking. Is a long time ago, I watched these world people come, national people come and race here, and they hosted that here for a few years, and then they haven't. But so Welsh does as well. So yeah, but whitetail, if anybody's interested, or you want to bring kids out, so that not this weekend, but next weekend, on Saturday and Sunday, it's all-day events. Saturday's middle school, Sunday's high school, and there'll be all the races going on. You can just come and see what they're about and bring some cowbells and,
Is that out near the brewery?
Yes, it is.
It's right by it.
Right by Rush.
So now you might go?
Yeah. So bring your bike and then you can stop
she
in
said
there
shop, though.
afterwards. Yeah. Well, we have a little tiny video. Do you guys have any other questions? Or we can play a tiny video if you guys have time.
How do you get out of this?
So it's a lot of fun. So my other daughter, Gracie, she's in 8th grade. We don't allow our middle school kids to what they call petition up. We say, hey, when you're in middle school, you can race in middle school. You'll have plenty of time to get to varsity level if that's a level that you end up being at. But no need to push it, doing that much so early. So anyway, Gracie's likes mountain biking and she's good at mountain biking, but her sport is downhill skiing. And so I always tell her, well, you're just doing mountain biking to train for downhill skiing. And then Gabby's opposite. She loves mountain biking more than downhill skiing. So I always say, oh yeah. So,
Is this the short one?
thing? Well, this is the middle of it. You want to play the whole thing?
No, is this the short one?
No, not the one Dad made.
Should we just,
How much time do we have?
we're probably over.
5?
About 5 minutes.
Okay.
We'll just play it. 'Cause it's 11.
You want to start it in here, or do you want to play part of it and then stop it?
Oh yeah, we'll just play part of it.
Well, let's play part of it and then we'll stop it. The revised video that we had, I could not get onto my laptop. our team party at the end of the year, we always make a little video, so it just kind of had some recap stuff from last year, so. Anyway, thanks for having us.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
If you have questions, just go find Gabby at high school.